Well, we're doing a part one and part two on this one. You saw part one. It just sort of ended abruptly because, stuff comes up. We're in a live working environment and things happen. People stop by. And before coming on to do part two, and I'm not going to edit and all that stuff. Um, so this is basically your fiberglass reinforced filler. We added a little bit of resin to it. We went over all the welds, put as much of it as we could in the bigger cavities. Like I'd shown before, the filler was fat and nothing, and then our plate. This is still low and hollow, but that's all right. We're just going to buzz that off with some 80 and 180, clean it, and then we'll put our proper body fill in it. So what this does is it packs down in between your welds or any pinholes. Now in this case, we didn't weld it solid, but we welded it pretty good. Sure, you're better to weld it solid, but the reality is what we're doing here is better than the quarters that are sitting flat on the car. So what I mean by that, this car has a set of old 80s, 90s style fenders on the back, which was basically a guy formed it with a few machines by hand out of a flat piece of metal till it kind of fit the car. You'd lay it on top, you cut it back a bit, you just tack it on, Bondo it in, filler, you get the idea. So they're not real nice. And then what you did is you filled it out. Now this car seems to have less than a 1/4 inch of filler on it, which is great, but there is filler on this car. So if a guy wanted a filler-free car, this is not the right car. It's held up since probably the 80s. I'm guessing 80s, maybe 90. It's held up a long, long time. And the things that went bad kind of rusted out. It wasn't the bodywork so much that was failing. In fact, the only place where bodywork does seem to be failing on its own is right around this door handle where you see cracking. Now, there's probably filler there or something, but we don't know because we're not going to tear that apart. We're not touching that on this car. The lines are all black and greasy because he probably rubbed some grease on it because, the old guys, they like to rub grease on little spots and hopefully that slows it down. And there's nothing wrong with that, but, he hadn't bothered cleaning that. So the last part of the video, I think I showed all the metal work welded on. Like I said, we simply fiberglass that in. I apologize. We used fiberglass reinforced filler. We mudded it in. We will buzz that off. And, then we'll put our regular fill and blend it all together. Got our sides, there was a bottom welded on. So, and I mean, it transitions pretty good from the part to the, old to new. And hopefully I showed this piece. I recorded a couple videos and kept getting interrupted, so it's hard to keep track. But there's a new plate in here, and then this whole piece had to be remade and welded in. And we buried the whole thing with a little bit of fiberglass reinforced filler. And we're going to sand that and shape it a little bit tomorrow. It'll look good, or at least, good enough that it's the right shape. We're not going for pretty. We're going for, we'll knock it down, get it smooth enough that all the welds, all the little pinholes, joints, whatever you want to call them, they'll all be sealed up. Then we're going to run our filler over this and sand it smooth. Now here we did a complete all the way back, all the way down and around into the pinch welds. You can see what we did there. So as you can see, we had to run a stripe worth of that right across. Now, we welded it, we took our time, so we didn't get too much shrinkage, but we did get enough that it knocked in a bit, and then we took a hammer and hit all our welds, knocked them all in a little bit, so we have a little bit of a dip that filler is sitting in. So now we'll, again, buzz that off, fill it with regular filler, call it good. Same with this. We're not looking to get our factory line showing or anything like that, although we do have enough glass here where we join the two rockers together. Once we put our Bondo, or body filler, we could mimic a line, but we're not gonna. Honestly, the rest of the car ain't that great. And when I say that great, like, the car's good, it's just not amazing. We're just gonna do basic body work, fill it in, make it straight, paint it orange. You know, we came up here where we welded that, there was some kind of spot there, we welded up. And back here, well, I kind of made a bit of a mess, but once it started to harden, we just stopped, so we'll make that smooth. But we did get our weld, you know, and that was the main thing. Same thing with the little piece back here. Here's where we had those little holes. There's, you know, it's kind of fat because we knocked those in after we welded them. So even if they do come through, it'll take a long time to come through that reinforced filler. But anyway, it's not amazing work, and it doesn't have to be because the car's not. Now, the nice thing with that, as I was trying to put the point across earlier in the video, kind of don't remember what I said in it, so let's not worry about that. But this is something that a guy could afford to do. You don't have to be, you know, the best restore guy in the world to fix this car. To restore the car properly, it needs one floor pan underneath, because when it's on a hoist, it has no beads in it or nothing. It's just a flat pan. It kind of sucks. Passenger side is all original, and it's fine. And then the front, I can't remember. There might be a patch or something, but it's actually pretty good. You need that one, but to me, it would make sense to replace this side if you were going to restore it back to pretty, or stock, or original. The other thing you'd have to do, both front frame rails. You'd have to do the cross member. Now, when I say you would have to do it to restore the car, it's not that there's anything wrong with this car. It's been fixed and repaired, and as such, it's not original. But it's solid, it's fine. It's a driver, and it works really, really well. Now, what should be done, in my opinion, with a car like this, both rear quarters need to be replaced with high-end AMD panels, the good ones. Complete rockers all the way to the front, not patch panels, completes. And it should also have brand new door skins. And if you did that, I think the rest of the car is something to work with. So, should you restore it? I don't think you have to. But if you have something this good that runs and drives, you do what we're doing and you're driving it, you can probably afford that. Thanks for watching.